Was that 100K?
Welcome to the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast.
We'll be sitting down with a fresh guest each week. Someone who shares the same kayak fishing passion that runs through our veins. We're talking kayak anglers, kayak companies, lure experts. Heck, anyone who's got a story to tell about landing the big ones from a kayak. We're setting our sights on becoming the #1 kayak fishing podcast in the world. You'll get a chuckle, a grin, and hey, maybe even a belly laugh. Because we believe in the power of humor. But above all, we're here to educate and inspire. So, whether you're a seasoned kayak angler or just dipping your toes into this exhilarating world, join us on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. It's time to reel in adventure, camaraderie, and the joy of the catch. Here's your host, Daren Wendell.
What's up, you fish freaks? Welcome to episode number 125 of the KFO show, Kayak Fishing Obsessed, your ultimate source for all things kayak fishing. Seth, we got a banger tonight, kayak fishing competition breakdown, because competitive kayak fishing just didn't happen. It was built by anglers willing to push limits, challenge norms, and really prove that kayaks belong in the same competitive stage as anything else in fishing. So tonight, we're talking past, we're talking growth, and we're talking about the future. And I couldn't be doing it with better people. Joining me are Chad Hoover and Mark Fehner, two guys who've seen the sport from the early grind and where it stands today, and who are still shaping where it is headed next. We're going to be talking about how they got things right, where we stumbled, and what the future really looks like. Not the hype, but the reality. So whether you're a tournament angler, a weekend warrior, or you're just curious where the whole thing is headed, you are in the right place. Seth, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I was just reading my Bass
your name
and my Bassmaster magazine that came in the mail.
You're so vain.
And man, finally got my name. I know you guys probably have already done it.
Oh yeah, it's like 3 or 4 times.
Finally got my name in Bassmaster and Bass Times. Now I just got to work on getting my picture in there. So yeah.
Oh, it just takes a first place finish, not a second, right? On the second, you just get your name, first place finish.
Yeah.
You get your picture in there.
You have to win. Yeah, you can't just be a participant.
I'm part of a group. I'm part of a group text. You were sharing today. You put up a 25-pound bag, bro.
I did yesterday in practice, right? The winner of practice. So that's always good. I left some out there for the weekend, but we got a cold front down here. It was like high of 60 today in South Florida. So
what a coincidence.
Who knows? It might have moved my fish off their areas.
I got a cold front. My cold front lasts like 3.5 months, though. A little bit different than yours.
What's the temperature up in Ohio this week?
It's literally like a negative wind chill right now. I hate being on that text thread because you guys are like posting bass and catching fish, and I was like, I'm just gonna go make my fish finder videos. My gosh.
Yeah.
Well, before we get started, I want to thank the sponsor of the show, Dark Horse Tackle. If you have never checked that out, please do. I have a box that comes every single month. And this is what I got this time. Got the old Pistol Pete. You ever hear this?
No, it looks like a little
from G-Rat Baits, 5.75 inch, 1.2 ounces. Got steel bearings, slow sinking. It's really just a jointed glide bait. So if you threw the Sneaky Pete, this is like a scaled down version of that. So this is like a $20 lure coming in a box. So I look forward to throwing that here in the spring.
What's its name again, Daren?
Pistol Pete 2.0.
Okay.
There we go.
I like the size.
Sticky. Cool. I know, right? It's like perfect. All right. Well, let's get this party started. Let's have our guest over here, Chad Hoover, Mark Fehner. Welcome to the show, guys. How you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, listen, I did not know you were going to promote G-Rat. The folks over at G-Rat are really good friends of mine. UFC legend Clay Guida is actually a partner in that brand. That bait is actually fire. So go throw. Well, you couldn't throw it. You could just throw it up on the ice and drag it across the top. So send it to Seth or myself, and we'll go out there and show you what it looks like in the mouth of a big old bass. Seth, I got to say something to you, bro. We didn't plan this. This is my Paul's favorite hat.
Yeah.
When he passed away, his wife said, "What do you want of your Paul's?" And I've got a picture of him fishing in front of the boat that inspired me to go fishing. This is his hat. I hang it on a wall in front of me, and it's got the same camo pattern as the one you're wearing right now. That is the Paul hat. My son Austin will tell you that's the Paul hat, and you're wearing Paul hat today. So
my dad used to wear that same type of camo too.
Kind of choked me up a little bit when you showed up on the live stream and I was in the green room and you were wearing that hat. I was like,
yeah.
So I had to go grab it to point that out.
I love it. Hey, Mark, before we get started, everyone's probably looking at you over here, and if you're listening in, it says LIKBF. What is that real fast before I'm going to kick us off with a question out of the gate for Chad here in a second.
Long Island Kayak Bass Fishing is just basically a chapter ambassador club to KBF that I am the tournament director of.
Awesome. And also, you have a role within KBF as well.
Yes.
We haven't decided what his role is yet.
You don't know what it is yet?
We talked about this before. I'm going to say director of operations, but really he's like the director of operations, right-hand man, graphic artist, strategic planning and development. You guys do us a favor. Comment in the comment section below. What is Mark's title? He pretty much is the vice president of operations for kayak fishing, but Marty Hughes is the vice president of operations. So anyway, Mark is like the man when it comes to tournament, strategic planning. How do we move this thing forward? He's the guy that said we should do the greenhorn thing. He's the guy that said we should double payouts. He's the guy. He's pretty much been my finger on the pulse of what we really should do outside of what I think we should do. And you'll find out during this podcast, as rambling, he'll be like, dude, shut up. Let's move forward. He is the guy. He will be the guy this year that is your primary point of contact for all things KBF competition. So I can focus on getting my fat butt out there, creating content to satisfy the sponsors that fund this whole thing. So
heck yeah. I love it.
Did I cover
the cover it, Mark?
Basically, we have an inside joke going on that if anybody who's seen the first Iron Man movie where she meets that like FBI guy, but he's got like this ridiculously long title, and she's like, "We got to work on that." That's
That's you. I love your crew too.
When I call Mark, he answers the phone. KBF Crisis Hotline. How may I help you? So that'll tell you.
I love it, Mark. You got a great crew. I was able to hang out with you guys when I was down at Gunnersville. All you guys are awesome. So I love your club.
Not a great crew, the best crew.
All right.
KBF is the best crew in the game, hands down.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Speaking of in New York fashion, hang on a second. Bear with me. I'm botching this. Yeah. No, it ain't opening. You want to open that for me? I had these. I don't know if you could see that. I had these shot glasses made in Canada. Michelle made them in 2021. Was it just me, or am I? It's not just me, right? Well, I was gonna pour a shot and toast to 2026 to kick this thing off, but I'm having technical difficulties with a bottle.
There we go. Everybody around the horn.
Gotta go.
2026. Yeah. Now, heading into 2026, let's review a little bit of 2025 because this past year has been really interesting. I've done a lot of podcasts on cheaters, so forth and so on. So, Chad, we had a brief conversation earlier today. You're like, you know what? I got something to say about this.
I was like, cue me up for the cheater conversation, Daren. And Daren said, I got you, bro.
What's the PSA?
Here is my public service announcement. For those of you that didn't know what PSA stands for, to cheaters. I drove down to Mobile, Alabama a couple of weeks ago, and I met up with the folks at Fishing Chaos. We've already had a really good relationship, but we wanted to take it to the next level with things like Angler Track and some of these other things that allow us to really throw the gauntlet down and say, go ahead and try me. There's this thing in social media for people around Seth's age that wear brim hats like this that are flat called FAFO, which stands for F around and find out, right? So I want to say this. There's been a lot of cheaters that have come to light over the last 6 months to a year. And what's happened is, to a certain extent, it creates a big social media buzz, but then it goes away. Okay. It creates a little bit of flurry for everybody to make a video about, and then it goes away. And then the person kind of slides under the radar after that. Fortunately for us at KBF, they haven't been involved in KBF. But I want to say this. If you decide in 2026 or beyond that you want to try to cheat in a catch, photo, release tournament that I have invested my life savings in, that I've invested my entire livelihood in, I am going to make sure that you find out after you FA, because you have shown disregard for the other competitors because you stole from them. Let's stop playing the game of making foo-foo words like cheated and this misrepresented and all. You stole. There's somebody else that fished harder than you, that fished better than you, that caught better fish than you. You stole their money, which makes you an effing thief. There ain't a damn thing in this world I hate worse than a thief. Okay. I got 3 kayaks stolen last week because somebody needed to buy, Christmas presents for their meth children, and they stole from me to provide for it, but they're thieves, right? I worked hard. They didn't. They stole from me. If you cheat in a kayak fishing tournament, you're a thief. In 2026, if you try to cheat and you get caught, especially in a kayak fishing tournament, I just hope, I honestly, as bad as I hate to say it, I almost wish somebody would. I wish an angler would cheat in the KBF tournament so that I can nail your butt to the wall. And here's what I'm going to say. I want this to be very clear. I want you to be able to clip this out as a public service announcement by itself. I want you to be able to put the little ticker on the red bar across the bottom that says the FAFO public service announcement. I am not going to stop at making you infamous because you got caught cheating and allow you to go do the podcast network where you talk to Cerebral Tackle and you do the video and act like you're somewhat remorseful when you're really not. I'm not going to let everybody do it and it falls by the wayside. I am going to do everything I can to ruin your life. I'm going to do everything I can to take your livelihood because you're trying to take away from the integrity of catch, photo, release that I've invested my entire life savings in. A life savings I spent 20 years on the tip of the spear serving in the military to build, survived a divorce, survived all of these other things, but you're going to try to take it because you're lazy, because you think you're smarter than us, and because you think my reputation is worth more than the other people's who's worked their ass off to outfish me, but I'm going to cheat. So I'm going to make sure that I contact your job, and I'm going to try to get you fired because I'm going to say, I don't know if you know this or not, but the piece of shit you have working for you is a cheater and a thief. So he's probably going to steal from you. I'm going to figure out how to find out who your wife or your life partner or your girlfriend is so that I can make sure they know you're a cheater. Because if you're cheating in a kayak fishing tournament, you're probably going to cheat on them too. I'm going to find out who your friends are and let them know you're a cheater. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you're as infamous as you probably can be. because I watched the video of Mr. Jake Houseman, who was very smug in his, I would still be cheating if I didn't get caught. It's so easy in a kayak fishing tournament, but yet that bitch didn't try KBF. So bring it. Come on. We got something for you. Okay. The whole video release thing that we do would prevent the dumbassery of being able to use a cockpit cutout to cheat in a kayak fishing tournament. So I'm challenging the other kayak tournaments out there. Listen, guys, I've been doing this shit 30 years. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Let's create a unified series of rules so we don't have these gaps that jackasses can exploit to undermine the integrity of catch, photo, release. I've worked too damn hard. The other clubs out there have worked too hard. The organizations have worked too hard to let a few lazy scumbags, because that's what you are. Let's stop kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt. If you cheat in a kayak fishing tournament, you are a thief, you're a liar, you're a scumbag, you're a piece of absolute human garbage. So if you try that in KBF in 2026 or beyond, I am going to absolutely do everything I can to end your world. And Mr. Jake Houseman, I'm going to throw this out there to you, my friend, who said very smugly, I still be doing it. Very smugly, I'm going to forget about kayak fishing and go sit in a deer stand and forget about it. And then, by the way, I have screenshots from friends of his who said he's going to come back in a couple of years and redeem himself. You're not. Don't waste your time, bruh. You ain't coming back into my sport. And I'm going to say this. This is my sport. This is our sport. And I consider myself a leader in it. So, Jake Houseman, don't make your mouth up to try to come back into the sport. Take up golf or disc golf or badminton or something else, because you are absolutely done in competitive fishing. I know everybody from the kayak fishing, catch, photo, release to the Bassmaster to FLW to Major League Fishing to all of them. If your name pops up again, I'm going to make sure your ass gets buried under the jail, not in the jail, under that sumbitch. Okay. So I just want to make it clear. We have worked very hard to establish the credibility. Companies like Catch, who've worked with me to develop measuring boards that have things like these parallax marks up here that most of you don't know what it's for. What that's for is if these marks right here don't line up with these marks right here, I know you're trying to angle your camera. The folks at Yak Attack, who've developed a leaderboard, who's got this little thing right here that determines whether or not your mouth is touching, that's got these marks across the top, that's got other little technology built in that allows us to catch you. And then these videos that we require you to do that pan around your boat, which we're going to update for 2026 with KBF. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to shut up and say this. We got a lot of little techniques. We got a lot of little things like the identifier, the angler track, the back end, the EXIF data, a lot of stuff that I think I hope that the reason we haven't had a major cheating scandal in KBF is because when a cheater decides to survey the competitive landscape, they realize, oh, shoot, that's the bank with the lasers and the heat detection and this and this and this and this. So we should not try them. But I wish the entire sport would adopt the safety protocols that we have, because if they had, we wouldn't even have to worry about most of these cheaters. So bring it. Go ahead and try me. I want you, cheater person. I'm talking to you right now. I'm only talking to the cheaters out there. I'm only talking to the losers. I'm only talking to the psychopath, sociopath, piece of shit, human garbage that thinks it's okay to steal from another person. Go ahead and try me. I'm going to come knock on the glass and visit you in jail while your kids miss you on Christmas, while your wife is talking to another dude because she knows she ain't going to see you for a few years, and while you rot your ass in jail and I ruin your life because you're trying to ruin my livelihood and you're trying to steal from people who've basically vested their faith in me to make sure that they have fair competition. So hopefully I didn't overstep my mark there, but I just wish I wish an angler would.
That's got to be a real long short, someone mentioned.
Yeah.
I think it's important to know, hey, if you decide to come KBF, decide to pull shenanigans, prosecution is coming. right? You just became Chad's new pet project.
Prosecution, and I'm going to try you not just in the court of law, but in the court of public opinion. I'm going to make you famous.
Obviously, Chad's not going to give all the secrets away, but obviously there's technologies and things that the anglers don't know about.
100%.
Easily pin people.
I've said this 100 times. When you watch those movies where they're laying out on the table the bank that they're going to break into, and they're saying, hey, Catherine Zeta-Jones, you're in charge of this. And hey, Ludacris, you're in charge of this. And so you're in charge of this. That's because that bank advertises all of the safeguards that they have. We don't advertise all the safeguards that we have. But I can tell you, I called a few people this year and said, hey, can you send me the video of your fish release? And they were like, what happened? I'm like, well, what happened is your photo's a little suspect because my second generation photo detection determined this. And they're like, oh, well, see, what had happened is the photo was bad. So I screenshotted it and I changed the contrast because I wanted the lines to show up. I'm like, I don't need you to do that. I will do that. But they didn't realize that. So then when they get the phone call from me, they're like, oh, crap. I'm like, send me the video. So they send me the video. I compare the EXIF data on the video and the photo together to make sure that they were fishing where they were, when they said they were. And with Angler Track, we can double check that. We can set boundaries. We can do all kinds of stuff we're not going to advertise here because I just want you to know, please try me. Just try Mark. Mark's going to be in charge of this right here. That guy right there. Try that guy. He's from New York. Hey, I'm from New York. You know what I'm saying? He's going to show up to your house with a sledgehammer, right? And a bat and take your kneecaps out. That's what we're doing this year. Not playing. So anyway.
Chad, real quick, you mentioned in your public service announcement, you had recently had a few kayaks stolen from you. Want to talk about it any more?
Yeah, it was my fault. I left my kayaks over at the private lake that we're turning into Hero Lake. I put a big logging chain on and thought they couldn't cut through the chain. But due to my not fully understanding how meth works and that meth inspires you to do things that, methu and methany would do that you and I wouldn't do, they got a grinding wheel to the thing and cut it. But I got something for their ass. And all of my sponsors are amazing. So they've already replaced the product. So I hope they enjoy the product. I hope they get more fulfillment out of it than I was. But if you see a RVR 119 out there on Facebook Marketplace for sale that's got the KBF logo embedded in it, that's a one-of-a-kind boat. If you see it, let your boy know. So that way I can show up with said baseball bat to collect my product.
What about the other ones?
About that. I got something for their butt next time.
What about the other two that got stolen?
I got something for them. Well, the folks at Sea Eagle that I'm working with to develop some prototype boats that are inflatable, that can be shipped to anywhere in the country, that are versatile, that are innovative. The owner of the company said, they're on their way. They sent me a replacement product the next day. So I'm blessed with amazing relationships, amazing sponsorships, amazing partners. And honestly, what's funny is the CEO of Sea Eagle said, well, bless their heart, they needed it more than you did. I'll send you another one. So good on them. But we'll do the AirTag thing next time that you and I've talked about, Daren.
Yep.
I got a little paintball automation deal that I'm working with a deer trail camera that I'm playing around with. So we're going to have some fun with it, and we'll chronicle it all on YouTube and social media.
There we go. All right, let's switch gears here after that PSA, because what's interesting to me is that over the years, we have a lot of these rules that you see within your rules. However, we all know that if we read a rule, it's there for a reason. But a lot of times you can't just ask someone, hey, why is that there? But now we can, because Chad, you help create and form these rules. But really quick, we have 116 live right now. If you haven't done so, please hit that like button, get a little extra yardage for this after the fact. But Chad, one of the things I wanted to chat about tonight, and this is interesting, I hear about it here and there. It's not like a big conversation topic, but I think it's fairly interesting, which is going to be drone usage at live events, because I've heard of individuals throwing up their drones during practice, and they're not like scouting fish, they're scouting anglers who win all the time, who are catching fish to see where they're fishing. So walk us through the evolution of drone usage at live events and the rules are revolving around it now.
So about 3 years ago, when we first came up with the knucklehead concept, we had an angler, and it wasn't against the rules, so I didn't bash said person. But we found out they were going from ramp to ramp to ramp, just popping the drone up because they saw trucks with kayak trailers on them and figured, oh, well, there's a bunch of people fishing here. Let me pop up the drone and see where they're fishing. Again, kind of clever if you really think about it. Said angler didn't need to waste the time of getting on the water and actually putting in the time to learn the fishery themselves. They could drive from boat ramp to boat ramp, popping the drone up. Well, it just so happened we had a semi-famous angler who that person was following their wrap truck around. You guys could probably figure it out if you want to, but I'm not going to throw the name out there. Who said, dude, I have had a drone hover over me everywhere I've been fishing. So at the captain's meeting, I put out that drone usage is not permitted. If you actually read the KBF rules, it's written under the pre-fishing area under red writing that says you can't use it. And I cover it in said captain's meetings. In fact, I called Steve Owens back in June before our live stream that I and Steve did about the future of kayak fishing and said, you might want to take a hard look at this drone thing because it's been a problem for us. Here's what I've done for live events. Steve put it out there and then was going to do the whole, you can't review the footage till after the fact. And then a lot of anglers pointed out, well, you can still see the viewfinder. So you're still gaining information. So Bassmaster came back and came more in line with what our rules are, which is no drone usage 7 days prior to the event until the end of the event. Because it's not fair, it's silly, it's crazy, and there's no way to manage it, right? So it'll turn into an absolute, free-for-all if folks can just go to boat ramps and pop a drone up and fly it around looking for beds and looking for mud lines and looking for other anglers and looking for all of these things, which is all well and good if you're fishing for fun. It's all well and good if you're creating content. But if you're in a competition, it's called pre-fishing, not pre-flying. And that's all I got to say about that. At KBF, drones are not permitted 7 days prior to the event, during the event. If I'm a content creator and I like to shoot drones, show up early or stay late and shut the hell up. That's it. Real simple.
Mark, do you have any issue with that? Or Seth, have you ever had an issue or have anybody flying around? Have you noticed it during pre-fishing in your tournaments?
I've actually, until the conversation me and Chad had this afternoon, I never even heard of this being.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
So.
Seth,
yeah, I've had drones around. I don't really care though. I understand that not having it. I could see how it could become a problem, I guess is what I'm saying. Me personally, I don't care because if you're spending time tracking down people where they're fishing and it means you're not on the water actually pre-fishing. But I could see how it could become a problem where people are just throwing up drones, running around, doing different stuff. But I've had drones around me, but I don't know I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if it's people just getting footage or if they're anglers or I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's B-roll. I don't know.
Is we are trying to prevent it becoming a problem.
Exactly.
It was a little bit of a problem. We addressed it and said, we're just not going to let it become a problem. That's one of the things we do, I think, a little bit different as KBF is we're a little bit proactive because we've been around long enough to see these things turn into a problem so we can do what Barney Fife said on Andy Griffith, nip it in the bud. So we're nipping it in the bud. We're not going to let it become a problem.
It would become a problem.
The only people that I think would have issues with it are B-roll content creator type stuff. But like you said, you just got to stay till after the final day, and then you can get all the B-roll you want. That
or get there before pre-fishing.
Or a week early, yeah, depending on what the situation is. So I don't think it's a huge deal at all to cut it for sure.
Not to mention, not to go, not my intent to go down this road, but technically, couldn't you as an individual be legally bound to not do that without my permission to video me?
Not in public.
Not in public. You're in public, so you're free. That's why we get videos of people that don't want to be filmed all the time. By the
audit.
Exactly. Yeah.
I tell you what, I lose myself.
Unfortunately, that's part of the reason we're doing is to say, listen, I know it's public, but you can't do it because it's per the rules of the event. So simple.
Now, just let everyone know. I know there's a lot of questions over here. I am starring them, and Chad and I and Mark and Seth will get to those toward the end, but we got a lot to cover here. So really quick, Chad, let's switch gears again, and let's kind of go back to what I talked about a moment ago, which is going to be events and rules that I meant. So reason for the rules. So I can do one of two things. I know there's some that I actually see get asked and answered online all the time, right? Hand placement, and that's changed since I've been kayak fishing the last few years. ID cards, one that gets broken a lot. Open mouth gets broken a lot. However, there is a slew of rules, and I think it'd be fun because I just heard, I saw someone over here in the comments. They said Let me see here. See if I can find it really fast. Oh, I started. Shoot. Oh, well. They're basically like, hey, I'm new to this. I'd love to get some walkthrough and rules and how not to do things. So one, read the rules, right? Because we're not going to go through every single one of them. And if you ever see Chad get wound up, it's really easy to wind Chad up and just watch him go. We did it at the beginning. If you want to get him really wound up, ask him about or argue about a rule that he already created and written down. My gosh, it's easy to get him wound up about that. So Chad, take it from here. I have the rules up on KBF, but you want to talk about the 3 main culprits first?
All right. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the 3 biggest ones that over the years I've gotten pushback on, and the ones that other organizations didn't necessarily want to adopt until later on, and why we developed them. Okay.
Yeah.
So to do that, I'm going to start off by holding up a measuring board. Okay. So this is the catch measuring board. The catch measuring board solved the problem of flex with the original hog trough because it's aluminum. Yak Attack came around behind it after the, catch board and developed a board that, solved some of the problems that people had with the catch board. But they reached out to us as an organization and said, what things do we need to make sure that we have? So I'm going to talk about those. Okay. First and foremost, one of the big things is the mouth open. Well, the big reason that the mouth open rule came about is we had an angler early on that was actually grabbing the fish's mouth with his hand, grabbing the bottom jaw, putting his fingers on the top and popping the jaw out. What that would do is dislocate the jaw and give him an extra 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, depending on how much he dislocated it. But what people didn't realize, and what we didn't realize initially, is it's not just giving him that 1/4 inch. It's not just giving him that 1/2 inch. It's just not giving him that 3/4 of an inch. It's giving him a whole nother fish. Because in many cases, that angler would catch a 19, take the jaw, pop it, put it on a lip gripper, film, fish for a couple of hours, pop that fish, and now that 19 is a 21.5. So for the most part, most of us are looking at the fish 19, 21.5. We're not even going to compare those fish, right? Because you dislocated the jaw, you extended it out. But then it goes even further when you've got a measuring board where you take the fish, you lay it on the measuring board, you slide the fish down, and then this little divider right here, this little line, if you slide the fish down and you take your camera and you move it over to take the photo, the angle makes it look like the mouth passes that line even when it doesn't. So that's why we developed these parallax marks, okay, across the top of the board up here, right? So these parallax marks allow us to look at the marks, and if you change the angle, it looks like they don't line up. And a lot of people complained early on like, oh, those marks don't line up. And we're like, yeah, they don't line up on purpose, because if you hold the camera over the fish and the mouth is over here and you try to move the camera away from it to get that angle to make the mouth look like it's hitting, we get a clue right here that these parallax marks are off. So when Yak Attack decided to develop the leaderboard, they reached out to me and I said, make sure you have parallax marks across the top. And then when I explained why, they actually came up with this concept, right? Which is this, hold on. Good Lord, Chad. This freaking thing right here, the measuring board or the reflective face. And I said, they said, hey, we can determine that if your fish is touching by the V, and if you move your hand away, there's a gap in it. I actually did that all along, because whether you know it or not, the catch board has a reflective fence. So it was doing that, right? Even when you didn't know it. So I always hated when anglers would put a sticker on there because it got rid of the glare. When I mentioned that to Luther from Yak Attack, he said, dude, there's IP involved. So he came up with the reflective fence. This year, KBF is partnering with Yak Attack. We're actually going to make a decal that will work on the catch boards as well, so that you can put that reflective fence on there so you can tell if the nose is touching, because when they come together, it makes a perfect V, but when they don't, there's a gap. I purposefully didn't want to allude to that because I wanted to see the person that was trying to cheat by sliding the fish down to make that next 1/4 inch and then taking the camera and moving it over. Because if you think about it, over a 5-fish limit, a 1/4 inch line cutter on every fish is 1.25 inches. How many tournaments have you looked at where first to 50th place is barely separated by 3 inches, much less 1.25 inches in the top 10? So as we evolve and as things like the reflective fence on the leaderboard happen, as we move forward, we're able to further solidify this stuff and dial it in. You know, companies like Bubba, as bad as I hate to admit it, they decided to develop their measuring board in a silo, asking competitors instead of judges what they should do, and they missed a couple things. Still a great board. We still approved it, but it's not as good as it could have been if they would have asked the house instead of the gambler, right? That's how it should work moving forward. Hand placement is a big one, okay? Early on, I would film people. I did numerous TV shows and crazy things to film anglers. And I filmed some pretty substantial anglers with a fish on the measuring board, and they're down there trying to pinch the tail to eke out that extra inch. And I'm sitting there going, man, you're taking 10 minutes to get this damn fish back in the water. So one, I made the rule for the fish so that you're not sitting there jacking with the tail. Secondly, we had an angler that did that thing your uncle used to do, where you cut your knuckle off.
Got your nose.
Where he cut a tail off and was palming it and holding the tail to where he could slide it down to get an extra half or quarter of an inch. If you think about it, over a 5-fish limit, that's a big deal. So these rules are actually written in blood and they're written in money. So when you think, oh, I don't want to be so complicated and as anal as KBF is, you're opening the door back up for people to cheat the way that we've already fixed. So again, hand placement became a big deal. But the other big reason is straight up is I would see anglers sitting down there pinching the tail, and they're trying to pinch the tail, right? So here's the tail of the fish facing this way. So that means the head's that way. So they're sitting there jacking around with the tail, trying to get a quarter of an inch, and the fish jumps that way. So they're sitting there trying to get a line cutter to go from 22 1/4 to 22 1/2, and they lose 22 inches. So I see this happen so many times, and I field so many phone calls that I say, you know what? I'm going to make it to where your hand has to be on the fish in the center mass instead of on top of the fish trying to sit there and pinch the tail. So I protect the anglers from themselves. But in the spirit of consolidating the rules with other organizations, with KAS and Bassmaster and Toby and all the other series out there, I conceded and said, you know what? If the angler wants to jack around and screw themselves out of a fish because they want to pinch the tail, by all means, go ahead. But we just want to make sure that you can still see every bit of the tail past the caudal peduncle. So we've evolved. So I'm actually putting my money where my mouth is and moving back towards some of the other organizations, even though I know deep down inside that it's better for the angler to not jack with the tail so that you don't have the fish jump off the board. So anyway, that's the open mouth thing, because again, you could move the fish away from the board, and if the mouth opens up, you know, you can 100% confirm it's not touching. Well, with the reflection, with the improvements in the measuring boards, we can play that game now, and we can kind of relax that rule. So one of the things we're doing is that on the end of the fish's mouth is the lips. This little line right here down the side is the mouth. So when that starts to separate, we know it's an open mouth. If just the tip of the lips is open, that's open lips. So we're going to clarify that in the rules. We're going to clarify that in this video. But just because a fish has got a little opening in the tip of its lip does not mean it's an open mouth. When the mouth starts to open here in this gap where you're trying to extend the bottom jaw out to get the fish to hit the next line, that's where you're gaining a competitive advantage. And that's the difference that KBF is kind of zeroing in on. The ID card. Here's the ID card is two things. One, it proves you read the damn rules, even though 99% of people say they read the rules and they don't. But more importantly, there's a couple of scalers in the ID card that we're teaching AI and we're teaching the tournament management system to read. So we can compare the size of the octagon in the center of the new logo. We can compare the sizes of the boxes. We can compare the corner to corner measurements to say, based on this parallax with the measurements on the measuring board, grabbing 1 inch and using a pixel counter, we can determine if you've modified your measuring board, if you're trying to manipulate the system, or if you've messed around with your photo. So that is the other reason that we require the mandatory ID card from KBF. And we've gotten away from placing our sponsors on it more to placing a better code system, a better measurement system, so that it is a scaler built into the photo that we can use to say, based on this parallax, we can figure out if you've tried to manipulate the size of the fish or the size of the board, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Seth, Mark, any questions for Chad? Or if there's been a lot of comments over in the comment section, anything that were like, hey, I want to address that.
There's a couple comments that I saw that were, just people going that they can't believe that people will do what they do for a couple $100 or, let me tell you, it doesn't matter what the dollar amount is. When money is on the line, people, the shitty people will do whatever it takes. It's amazing what people will do when money is on the line.
It's not even the money. It's this.
Brian?
It's hardware. It's accolades. It's
clout, social media
clout, social media fodder. Look at me. It's really ironically enough, like this ass clown, Jacob Hausman. Is that the official term? Does anybody know, Seth? Is that like an official term in the flat trim crowd?
No talent.
I do my teens or something.
You got to put no talent in front of that.
I mean, the thing is, the dude's actually got some talent. He can catch some fish. He's just a piece of human garbage. But that being said, he was not fishing for money. He was fishing for clout. He was trying to say, "Oh, look at me. Look at what I can do. Right? Look at what I can accomplish. I'm better than the other people."
Yeah.
But what's crazy is, how do you reconcile that you're better when you know you cheated? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Well, your son nailed it when he said stunt fishing.
Yeah. 100%.
Right? I mean, I've heard stories and people changing the shirt, changing their hat, taking lures out, putting new lures in, taking photos. That's not about money.
Yeah,
it's about clout.
He was doing that for sure. But I wanted to say this: if there's anyone that's on here that's relatively new to kayak fishing and tournament fishing, all the things that Chad's talking about is like the background of why some of the rules are the way they are. It's not that complicated if you do things correctly. Like it may sound complicated when you're reading the rules, but when you're taking a picture of your fish and recording it and releasing it, it's not a complicated process.
Super simple.
It's very simple. So if you're listening to this is just kind of the history of why we have some of the rules, not necessarily as to making it complicated or don't be afraid of it or nervous or anything like that. Definitely read the rules, but it's not a complicated process once you read them.
I want to follow up there on you too, Seth, because I saw a comment that someone said this is why I don't fish the online events. I know that we've kind of talked a lot about it, which seems like this is being magnified, that it happens a lot. It really doesn't happen a lot. It's just happened enough over the past decade, and why rules have been adjusted to accommodate. This isn't something that happens every year or in every organization. So, I don't let what we're talking about discourage you and make you think that, oh, this is why I don't do it, because nobody can be trusted. There might be some that get away with it now, but it's going to catch up. And
Chad's going to find you.
Chad's going to find you.
It's about deterrence.
One other thing. It is super simple. KBF's onlines are safer than most people's live events, because just because it's a live event doesn't mean that a person can't be sitting at home cheating. Look at what happened with the guy that took the 26-inch photo and put his hand over the top. And if he didn't suck at Photoshop, nobody would have ever caught him. But that being said, it is very simple. And I want to make sure I clarify this. I am not doing this for the cheaters. I am working my ass off, even converting my brain a little bit to try to think like a cheater, to protect the person that's investing their time, their effort, their energy, their money into actually competing. So I know a lot of times we give the focus to the cheater. The focus is not on the cheater. The focus is on preserving a level playing field and the integrity of the sport for the people who are not cheating.
I love it. And a lot of people get that.
Banks don't need security and all that stuff for the people that are depositing their money and going home and that are honest. They need their security for the people that are coming in trying to steal somebody else's money.
Yeah. No, and you got that a lot of after Hausman. Everyone's like gotten on, hey, we just we don't need to focus on it. We do need to focus. We need to let everyone know, hey, we're working toward it. There's always going to be cheaters, and there's organizations, there's people out there who are working towards making this a level playing field. Like you said, Chad, that's important to know as well.
I hate the fact that we're learning the hard lessons over and over again, or we're experiencing things that were easily prevented. The Jake Hausman thing was easily prevented by everybody adopting a catch, photo, record, release concept. Record a video of the release so that we have it if we need it. Because if he knew he had to record a release, and there was a chance that he would have panned off of that cockpit cut out on the deck of his boat, he never would have tried it. So, again, we've been doing that 5 years at KBF. So, it's a rule, it's a requirement, and that's why they don't try it in KBF. I'm hoping that a cyber hacker tries to come in and make the system prove that they can cheat it, because then we'll learn from it and we'll improve it, but you'll have to be at that level because the basic stuff is pretty well covered. But it sucks that we have to learn the same hard lessons over and over and over.
I love it. 150 live right now. So if you haven't done so, please hit the like button. That's pretty exciting. We're going to switch gears a little bit, Chad. I'm going to walk over to the rules. Now, we're not going to walk through all the rules. Well, I'll let you walk through what you want to walk through. So let me go ahead and share the screen and tell me a lot of times what you end up getting. So I know that people give you you make phone calls all the time for people who broken the rules. And I'm sure all those conversations are a lot of fun to have. So usually walk me through how it goes and then start walking through a lot of these rules and why they're here. Like what would you do in a captain's meeting?
What generally happens is somebody assumes, and I spent 20 years in the military and we had this saying, assume stands for ass out of you and me, right? That's what it stands for. So when you assume you know the rules because you've read them in the past or you fished another organization, so you assume their rules are the same, you just don't read. So what we're going to encourage you to do is read the rules. And Daren, I'm going to basically say, no, let's go through all of the rules and let's walk through them because that's what the purpose of this video is. So what we're going to do is we're going to link the video up to that red button. This video right here is going to be linked up to that red button right there so folks can go back and watch it. We will do event-specific captain's meetings for the individual events, but I'm going to defer to this gentleman down here to say, in the future, you're going to be calling him because he's the new KBF Director of Operations. He's a little less, we'll call it passionate than me. Not that he's less passionate, but you know what I mean? He's not as...
very well, do you?
What's the word? Not passionate. He's not as big of an asshole as I am. How about that? We'll just play the game. He's not as jaded as I am, so he's a better person to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm at the point now where I'm so short with people who don't read the rules and cheat that we need a breath of fresh air. And Mark runs one of the best, if not the best club in the country, and he's got a better temperament for it than me, right? So Mark is going to be that point of contact moving forward. So he and I have gone back and forth over these rules. He's read and reread and reread the rules to the point that he's got this stuff committed to memory. We've got a few notes at the top. Here's one of the things that we do at KBF that I think makes the rules very easy. If you scroll up a little bit, Daren, you'll see that there is a table of contents, and the table of contents is actually hypertext linked to each section. So when somebody calls me and go, hey man, I can't seem to find the rule on this, I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about because it's in the table of contents as, hey man, I can't seem to find the rule on competition area. Where am I allowed to compete? I can't seem to find the rule on acceptable watercraft. I mean, here's what I did, guys. I took the rules this year in the off season and copied them and pasted them into ChatGPT and said, convert this language into a third grade reading level. So that way it works in Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, and Central Ohio.
Oh, come on.
And I reposted it
Northeast Ohio, so I'm good.
So that it's super simple. So I don't know what people do when they say they can't figure it out because we have a table of contents that lays it out. We have very simple, plain language rules. And we have notes to clarify where every rule is. And Mark had a great idea a couple of months ago where we created this video button to where now we can even do a video explaining some of the things that people have had questions with or for, so that they can click on that button and watch my fat ass explain to them how it works because they're either too lazy to read or just don't have, you know, that third grade level of reading comprehension. And
weren't you born in Louisiana, by the way? Kara saying.
I know a mid Louisiana purpose because I'm from there, but yeah, I'll throw Louisiana back in there. So anyway, but yeah, we've got a table of contents. It's pretty straightforward. So Daren, if you'll just read off the table of contents, I'll let you know if there's anything I can think of that we need to delve into. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. So how about we just do this? you read off the topic on the table of contents, and I'll let you know if it needs to be expounded upon.
This is great because not everyone's live, so they're just listening in here. So number one, participation and eligibility.
It's pretty straightforward. I don't think we need to get into this. If I need to explain to you about participation and eligibility, you probably aren't smart enough to fish in a kayak bass fishing tournament. You need to take up golf or pickleball or high five competitions or something along those effects. I just really don't think that one. Mark, can you think of anything in that category that really needs
age? Is age? I get age a lot.
It's all covered.
It's literally simple, and it can't be written in any other color of crayon. If you are curious, that you are eligible to participate, all you have to do is go to this page and click that link and read. It tells you exactly what you need to know.
Thank you.
I love it. Fish eligibility.
Straightforward. It's covered in that event or in that tab, tells you what the fish are eligible. And each event under the event specific details tells you if there's any exceptions. Straightforward.
Mm-hmm. It's not super long. It's A, B, C, D.
No,
you got this kind of bullet listed out.
Yeah, it's bullet. Right? Yeah.
Competitive competition period.
Yeah, straightforward. Tells you what the competition period is. Tells you how it works, how the rules work in conjunction with the event specific details and the captain's meeting from that event specific captain's meeting. It's really about as straightforward as it can be.
So when I read these off, I want you to share with me the things in the past that people have been confused about. Pre-fishing.
Mm-hmm. Pre-fishing, the biggest one we've had in the past is people going out and pre-fishing from non-acceptable watercraft, running around from spot to spot to spot in a bass boat, creating a competitive disadvantage for the folks that don't have a boat. So we implemented a 14-day rule and a 7-day rule that's very clearly written out. It's in bold, it's in color for what the rules are. So competition period, the only problem we've ever had is we tried to play the game of an off limits period. Yeah. Those are covered specifically under the event specific rules. If we have one, for the most part, we don't have those because we're kayak fishing after all. We don't need to get that complicated. So it's pretty straightforward and it's pretty simple. And because you've popped it up on there, honestly, everything that's ever been overlooked, we changed it to bright red. So that way it sticks out like a diamond in a bullet's ass, and it makes it even easier to read.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Competition area. This is pretty robust compared to your other sections.
Yep.
And a lot of red. So walk me through.
It's pretty straightforward, man. Anything we've ever had an issue with, we've defined it. Some of the questions are, can I fish on a military base? Okay. Did you read the rules? Yes, I read the rules. Oh, no, you couldn't have read the rules because in the rules, it very specifically says if the military base allows the public to fish there, whether they've got to sign in or get a pass or whatever, then that is permitted. However, it's not permitted if you have to be military, DOD, or Department of, the military civilian, and it's restricted access. For the most part, the rule is simple. If it's restricted access, you can't fish there for competition. If it's open access to everybody, you can't fish there. The one we completely got rid of, the one that we drew a hard line in the sand on, is these community ponds and POA ponds, because we constantly go back and forth. Well, my buddy is the director of the HOA, and he said I can fish there, so therefore I can fish there. And then you're going and fishing this pond nobody else can fish in. So if it's a community pond, an HOA, which stands for Homeowners Association, or POA, which is Property Owners Association, those are 100% prohibited from KBF competition. Can you go fishing for fun? Absolutely. Can you go catch fish and put them on your YouTube channel? Absolutely. Can you enter them in a KBF competition? Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a good one because I have a pond in my backyard that I stock giants, and there's 10s in there. So you should definitely not allow
you cannot fish community HOA or POA ponds at all. And it's very well written out and pretty freaking clear.
However,
keep it quite simple. It's you go to a place and you want to fish there, ask yourself this question: can anyone and anybody from any part of the country come here and just fish? Yes, then you can fish it. Simple.
However, if if you want to catch your giant, go figure out where Seth lives and go fish in his backyard because there's some giants back there.
And I will be posting up Seth's address on
100%.
OnlyFans for $5.99, and you can subscribe to get it for free.
No, these people on here are watching OnlyFans. There's no OnlyFans people.
Here's what.
Just go ahead and dox me. Dox me, Chad.
Here's what our posture is going to be for this year. Both myself and Mark, for the most part. If you have to ask me if you can fish there, you can't. If you have to ask, can you fish there or can you not fish there? If it's not obvious that you can fish there, then you can't. If you have to turn the paper on its side to determine whether or not it's eligible or not, you can't. Because this is a competition. You've never seen a football game where one team is playing on one field and 3 counties over, the other team is playing on another field. The competition area is a play-in field where everyone can compete, not something where you got it to yourself. That's great for honey hole fishing. That's great for fun fishing. It's not great for competition fishing. So if you text me this year to ask me, hey, man, I sent you a drop pin to this lake. Can I fish it? My answer is going to be no. Simple.
No, not you.
You had to take the time to waste my time or Mark's time to ask after we spent all of this time building out these rules. The answer is no. And then if you fish there, even if it is legal, I'm going to DQ your fish because you were too lazy to read the rules.
I have a feeling that everyone who asks you something asks you because they have your phone number or whatever. And it's just easier to ask than it is to go read the rules.
But now I'm going to send them Mark's number and they're going to get the New York Mafia.
Don't even get me started with that, Daren.
What you got to say over here? You know, they're going to get freaking Capone.
I cannot tell you how many times people just say that. Oh, it's just easier to call you.
Yeah.
It infuriates me.
And I've been busting Chad.
Because we bust our ass. We bust our ass in the background to put this together for you guys so that you don't have to do that. Because why have a website? Why have a Facebook page? Why have a competition rule standards under the event on the event page? I might as well just put call me in my number. Thanks. Have a good day.
Don't do it. I've been busting Chad recently too. I was like, Chad, you got to stop taking these phone calls for me. You're on the phone all the time. Like they're just wasting your time. You've already did the work.
I did. Amen. Thank you, Daren.
All right. Got a question for you, Chad. Come from White Church Fishing 1. Didn't it used to say in the rules you're eligible for a lie detector test? And all of the year I've been kayak fishing, I've never seen it done.
Still does. And we have done it more than anybody else. Okay. I have done more lie detector tests than actually not more than anybody else. I've done it more than every other tournament series combined, added together, and then doubled or probably quadrupled. I did 40 lie detector tests at the Shreveport event at the KBF National Championship. I did 35 at the National Championship at Shreveport. I did 16. I did 16 during COVID. During COVID, I hired a summit to come do the lie detector test who was like this. He looked like Darth Vader. Yeah, we have done more lie detector tests than anybody else ever. And we will continue to use that. However, I will say this. Our lie detector test is part of the equation. Unlike some of the bullshit that's out there and the controversy that's out there about, the lie detector test is not the end all be all. I write my own questions for the lie detector test. I provide it to the facilitator and we use it to trip up the angler to answer a question. And then we follow up based on information we already have through Fishing Chaos, through information that we have, and through stuff we don't share so that we can catch them in a lie if we need to. But yes, we do more lie detectoring than anybody in the game. And I will tell you this, Drew Gregory has been lie detectored more than any angler in the history of kayak fishing. KBF alone has probably lie detected Drew Gregory, oh my God, probably a dozen times. It got to the point where he drew randomly and because of where he placed so many times that he came to me and thought I was like singling him out. I'm like, dude, it is what it is. But he's always passed and he's always kind of lived on the edge. And Drew Gregory has skirted the rules to the point we've got Drew Gregory clauses in our rules where they're named after him. But Drew Gregory has never even come close to failing a lie detector test, but he's taken a bunch. Russ Snyder's has taken a bunch. Cody Milton has taken a bunch. There are a ton of anglers out there that will tell you they have taken a buttload of lie detector tests. So even though we don't go out of our way, thumping our chest that how many we do more lie detector tests than anybody on the game.
Chad, before I move on to rules again, real quick from the mini Snorlax here, he's got a question for you. So I've never heard of the KBF competition. How big is this competition? Now I'm going to get you all riled up, try to dial this back a little bit because we're going to talk about some of the new things you have at the end of the show. But really quick, answer that.
The biggest in the industry. We by far have the most competition participants of any series out there, from back when we did the biggest national championships in the world now to even doing the state Challenge Series championship. Even compared to anything else out there, we have more competitors, more payouts, more everything than pretty much everybody else out there. And the goal is to make it even bigger. But we're not chasing, like Mark and I have been talking about, we're not chasing trying to be the biggest and best thing out there. We're trying to provide the best opportunity and the best competition for our organization, which is KBF. And we have tangential relationships with clubs like Mark's Club, LIKBF, like we have with KBFTN, like we have with some of the other great organizations out there. But we're not trying to be the overarching organization for all things like I made the mistake of trying to do in the beginning. We're just trying to be the best possible club we can be for our members. But we have more fish entered, more competitors, and more payouts and prizes than anybody else in the game every single year. So to answer the question, how big are we? The biggest.
I like it. All right, to move back to the rules, I also got some questions over here about the Greenhorn series. I got a couple questions. Just so you know, I'm starring those. We're going to answer those at the end. All right, Chad, let's put this on hyper speed here. Cooperation, assistance, and information gathering in the news, not in KBF, but in the news. A lot of info gathering issues, people being DQ'd and boat fishing competitions and tournaments. What should everyone know here outside of read the rules?
Pretty straightforward. You can get information from other competitors who are actively competing. You can't pay a guy to pay an entry fee and give you information but not compete. They have to be actively on the water and competing. You can't get information from other people outside of the prescribed time frames. There's a basic prescribed time frame in the rules, and there's specific prescribed time frames in individual events or series. It really is that simple. If you can't figure out what the information rule is with KBF, you probably shouldn't compete. You probably shouldn't go out in public and interact with other human beings on a daily basis. It is written in second grade level, straightforward. You don't have to ask me to interpret it. If you can't interpret it, ask me for a refund to the event, because you can't fish in a competition. Because if you can't read our competition rules and determine what it means, I hate to say it this way, and I hope Mark agrees with me, you're just not smart enough to fish in a kayak fishing tournament. And I hate to say it that way, but realistically, guys, at some point, we have to say, call a spade, and literally raise the bar of competition to the point that you can't act like a half a moron and pretend like you don't know what you're talking about. Read the rules. If you read that rule and you can't interpret it, I got some bad news for you. You're not.
All right, let's keep on moving.
All right, cool.
Fishing tackle equipment, methods, and measuring boards. Now, obviously, read the rules. Obviously, it's written in third grade English. But for someone who's new, Chad, summarize. And we'll keep on cruising through these.
Pretty much, if it's legal in the state you're fishing in, it's legal in KBF. You can troll, but you can't troll with 6 and 7 and 8 rods. You can troll, but you can't trawl. You can't have 8 rods. You can have 1. Okay? You can't troll and have 1 in your hand. So you can't drag a lure around hoping to luck into catching the fish. You can troll if that's your technique, but you can't be trolling and doing something else. And for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. 1 rod, 1 reel, 1 line, 1 lure. Catch a fish. All of the possible scenarios you could face are very specifically outlined in the rules. Follow the state law. Follow the KBF rules. You really can't go wrong. Mark, can you think of anything outside of what I just said that applies when it comes to techniques?
This is where it can be a bit confusing if you run and do multiple tournaments, right? Because if you do the Kayak Adventure Series, it's different.
Okay, again, right? I'm not trying to solve the world for Kayak Adventure Series.
No, I get it. I'm just saying if you do both,
and say read the rules for the specific series. But with KBF, to rein it in, to make it super simple. State law, very specific, event-specific exceptions on a case-by-case basis. No live bait, artificial lures only, one rod, one reel, one lure, one line. Alabama rigs where they're legal, Alabama rigs illegal where they're not. I get this question all the time. Hey, man, over here where I'm from, you can't allow an Alabama rig. Does KBF allow it? No. Whatever your law is, you can't break it. Come on, man.
I love it. Yeah, it's key to realize that tournaments are going to run different rules. And so just because it's one way on one, don't assume it's one way on the other. All right, moving on.
When it comes to laws and tackle and permitted tackle and all that, I just say defer to the state law. It's pretty simple.
I like it. Moving on. Acceptable watercraft and propulsion.
Yep. Pretty straightforward. Under 17 feet, under 44 inches, under the specific guidelines outlined under acceptable watercraft. When you call me and say, hey, I can't find out what my boat's, whether it's accepted or not, I'm like, it's not. They go like, well, you don't even know what boat I'm talking about. I'm like, I just realized you can't go to the rules and read acceptable watercraft, so therefore you're just not smart enough to fish in a KBF tournament. You bought a dumb boat here because you're a dumb person. I hate to say it that way, but we're getting to the point with this. It's gotten so ridiculous. Hey, can I fish in my 17-foot John boat? Because it's pretty well just like my buddy's kayak. No, read the rules. It's in the rules. It's laid out in the rules. If you want your watercraft to be accepted, you can submit it. And if it's accepted, it'll be listed under accepted watercraft. If it's not, and it doesn't meet the criteria that we've established, it's not accepted.
There you go. No sailboats, no John boats, no rowboats, no dinghies, no skiffs.
Guy asked me the other day if he could fish off of one of them lily pad things. I was like, yes, you can absolutely fish off of that. You just cannot submit any fish you catch from it in a KBF tournament.
I got a good question. Go ahead, Mark.
I'm sorry. The only one that I see that could be controversial there is the sailboat one. And the reason I say that is because if you buy a Hobie, it comes with a sail mast.
But it's not a sailboat. It's a kayak you're sailing. To me, if it's sold and marketed as, which we cover in the rules, a sailboat, you can't fish from that.
Right.
Because
you're not meeting anyone in a sailboat anyway. You might as well just donate your money.
Yeah.
I probably should allow people to fish. And then maybe we could get Sperry topsider in as a sponsor.
You own the Sperry's. I know you do. I love it. All right, let's keep on moving on. Photo standards, release video requirements. Obviously, pretty simple. Read the rules. Standard, but summarize it for those who maybe have never read the rules.
The release video, you got to catch a fish on a measuring board, facing left, belly towards you, hand in the acceptable zone under Rule 9, not in the unacceptable zone under Rule 9. And you have to have the photo position per the table, per the rules, with really simple guidelines. Okay. Other than that, you can't do stupid stuff. You can't play around and try to cheat the rules. You can't cover up the eye. You can't cover up the mouth. You can't cover up the tail. It really is pretty straightforward. And what I've gone to is when people get their fish DQ'd for hand placement, I call them and say, all right, tell me in the rules where I can allow your fish. And they can't. They can't. So if you read the rules and your hand placement, and honestly, I'm going to defer to Mark on this one. Mark said no touch versus no cover is the confusing area. So we got away from no touch zone because we had people that would touch the fish in one spot, but their hand was covering the other part, but we couldn't tell 100% where they were touching the fish. So now we have a no cover zone. So if you have your hand in the photo and you angle the photo and you take the picture, well, my hand's not touching that part. Well, we can't tell that. We can only see what we see, and you're covering it, and you're covering it in the photo. And the photo requirements say that the photo is taken as vertically over the fish as you possibly can. And had you put your hand in the right place, you wouldn't have to worry about it. So it's pretty straightforward, honestly. We don't overcomplicate it. Mark, you got anything to add to that?
Nope, that pretty much covers it. You know,
and Mark created that graphic to make it even simpler. He made that graphic in like kindergarten. We had a graphic before that I thought was super clean and super easy and super smart. Mark's like, hold on, let me write this in like West Virginia, and he did.
to be clear, I took an original graphic someone made you and just cleaned it up and reiterated it. But the one common thing I want to jump on with is the video release on the most probably common question nowadays is how long do I have to keep my video release? How long do I have to upload it? Or I don't compete in KBF tournaments anymore because I have to do a video release. It's literally 10 seconds at most.
Got your phone out anyways.
You have your phone literally like this, taking the picture, capture, switch to video. Okay,
Yeah.
today's date. I'm fishing this tournament. 15-inch fish. Boom, back in the water. Done. It's over.
Here's the video button. Here's the photo button. You literally just swipe a quarter of an inch and hit the button. And
you don't even have to swipe. If you got an iPhone, you just hold the photo button and it records.
Bro, I don't even make it that complicated, Seth. You're going to really, you're going to blow some people's minds. People out there that say, I'm not fishing KBF because I don't want to do a video. Cool. We don't want you fishing either. Because the people that complain, here's what I've learned. The amount that somebody complains about the rules is inversely proportionate to how likely they are to win and how likely they are to cheat. Now, I'm going to go back to Mr. House. Every tournament director that I spoke to that Jake Hausman competed in a tournament with, he argued with, complained, he was the biggest pain in their butt. And every cheater that we've ever had in kayak fishing complains to tournament directors more than any other competitor out there. So in the future, if you complain to me incessantly, I'm going to start extra looking at your fish. I'm not saying I don't want you to. I'm just saying, if we're looking at the track record, the people that have complained the most have also been the ones that lose the most, that win the least, and cheat and cheat and cheat. It really is simple. If you got that big a problem with the rules, it's because you got something to hide. Literally, I'm going to do it for you. Hey guys, here's my 17.5-inch fish in the KBF January State Challenge. I'm going to use this remote as my fish. I'm picking the fish up. I'm putting it in the water. It swam away safe. Back to my measuring board. Done. If you can't do that, I don't know. Pick up tiddlywinks or golf or something else.
Tiddlywinks?
Whatever. Jack, play that game where you throw the ball and swipe up the little things. I mean,
oh my gosh.
Realistically, if you're complaining about the release video that I'm trying to use to keep you from having a jackass cut a boat's cockpit out and cheat you out of your money, I can't help you. My goal is to protect you from the jackasses out there that are trying to cheat. Take a video of the fish. Take a video of yourself. Guess what I'm going to do this year? I'm going to have you pan back to yourself to show the PFD. You know why? Because I have 1,000 challenges every year. Hey, Billy Bob's not wearing his PFD. Why do you say that? Oh, I can't see it in the photo. How the hell can you see it in the photo? He's taking a picture like this. But they're challenging it for the sake of challenging it. And I'm going to say this. The other reason that I'm super anal about the things that we do is because when you get good and you start winning, invariably somebody's going to accuse you of cheating. So our goal is to be able to have the data to say, nah, bro's not cheating. We got videos, we got timestamps, we got everything of every fish he's ever caught. And your statement that he's catching them out of bounds is actually baseless. So stop. And 2 times this year in 2025, we had investigations launched by other clubs who, without the KBF data that we had, would have declared someone a cheater. And we were able to preserve their reputation, preserve their integrity, and preserve what they've done to build themselves up in the sport, because the other organization would have basically said, we don't have enough to prove he didn't cheat, so therefore we're going to call him a cheater. My job is to be able to protect you if someone else decides to call you a cheater. And I'm going to work as hard if you're not a cheater to make sure I protect your integrity as if I do if you are a cheater to send your ass to jail.
I like it. Let's keep on moving on. We've got some more rules here, Chad. Thank you for walking through those. Scoring. Anything here?
Pretty straightforward.
Again. Yeah, I know. You keep on saying pretty straightforward. However, answer it in a way, because a lot of people in the chat over here is like, hey, I'm new to this, right? That's the reason they're on here, because give me a summary.
It is a breakdown of how the fish is scored for the event.
Mm-hmm.
That's as basic as you could answer that. It is literally every way that it could be scored, denied, challenged, adjusted because there was something wrong. So as you see, it says like the first one says blurry photo, unclear, scored at highest mark that it could be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
I'll
straight.
make it simple for you. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt to the maximum extent we possibly can. So if the photo's blurry, but it's clear enough that we can make it out, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
The things you really run into are if you cover a no-touch zone, we can't help you because you've covered what we now call a no-cover zone. Okay? You've tried to cover an area that has been historically covered for the purpose of manipulating a fish.
Yep.
So therefore, you don't meet the standard for that fish to be accepted. If the mouth is open, again, not the lips, not this part, the mouth, we're going to deduct you a ½ inch. The reason we do that is we want you to not try to get an extra ½ inch by opening the mouth, because we take the ½ inch back from you if you happen to make the next line. So if you try to open the mouth to get the next ¼ inch and the penalty's double that, you're not going to try it. So we have a ½ inch deduction. And then we have a couple of things like tail lifted off and bad identifier and bad, other things that will result in the fish itself being completely denied. It's about as straightforward as we can make it. We've actually cleaned it up substantially over the course of the last 18 months. And it's now in very straightforward bulletproof, text that says, these are the ways your fish can get approved. Here's the things that prevents us from approving it. Again, we don't want to deny fish. We don't want to DQ anglers. I want you to read the rules differently. This is not what we're going to look for to deny your fish. These are the things that prevent us from approving it. If you fundamentally shift your brain that way and say, I did not give you what you needed as a tournament organization, as the competitor, to approve my fish, it's on you. It's not on us. We're not looking to DQ your fish. But if you don't give us everything we can to approve it, then we can't. So it's on you.
Here's an interesting question. Just I'm getting it a little bit from those who are commenting right now. Have you ever had anybody have like the protest abuse penalty?
Yes.
100%. Do you require a $10 fee or something to protest and then you get it back, or is it just open and free?
It's $5 per challenge. You get an extra $5 if you're a Fishing Chaos subscriber, so you get double. But if you abuse it, I take it from you. And I took it from 2 people this year.
Okay.
I just go in. There's a little swiper on the back end that I swipe left and say, this person can no longer challenge. Sorry.
It's just they're just challenging everything.
They're just challenging everything.
Yep. Hopefully something sticks. Shotgun approach.
They're contrary to their buddy. They're challenging a guy that's ahead of them. Not because he's actually done something wrong, but simply because he's one place ahead of me in the tournament. So I want to challenge it to waste your time as a tournament organization to go double, triple, quadruple check a fish you've already judged. So I just take the
penalties. Anything in that section, or people get stuck up on? There's nothing in red.
You lose a ½ inch for an open mouth, you lose the whole fish because you didn't give me what I needed to approve your fish, like we just covered. Pretty straightforward.
Got it. Awarding of prizes.
Pretty straightforward. It's covered under the awarding of prizes and payout section. I will say this, and I got to take my hat off to Mr. Fehner right down here. He actually pitched me on doubling the payouts this year. I said, dude, we're going to reduce the amount for the upper end. Isn't that going to affect us? He created models for both, walked me through it, and I was like, damn, it's really not that much different for the top 3 or 4 people, but we're paying out double. So we're literally paying out 20% instead of 10%, which incentivizes more people to fish. It gives a return on investment for more people. So giving credit where credit's due, I was actually against it. Mr. Fehner down there took the time to map it out to show me, instead of me perceiving that it was a bad idea, we looked at it and we're like, oh, that's a really good idea. So we're paying out 20% of every series instead of 10%, which we've done historically.
All right. I like it. I'm gonna lump some of these together. Taxes, sale of prizes, safety. Anything you want to touch on there?
Taxes, sale of prizes, pretty straightforward. We do 1099s. That's why we require you to put a W-9 together, or a business. We have to run this thing correctly. Sale of prizes is simply to protect our sponsors. If a sponsor provides product and the next day all the product's up for sale on the website, they're going to stop providing product. So just be smart and be a little discreet about it. If you win a prize that you're not going to use, sell it to a buddy. Don't go online and post it up. Hey, I won this yesterday. It's up for sale. Because then sponsors are going to stop contributing prizes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Want to jump back up to safety? Just want to say
that
100%. Safety is our probably, number one goal is to make sure that everyone gets off the water safe and back home to their families. So the number one, it's letter B there, but I'm going to call it the number one, issue we have with the kayak community is wear your PFD. Even, just because you're fishing in an online event and you're by yourself on your, home lake and nobody's around, doesn't mean that something catastrophic can happen. Exactly.
100%.
You post up videos or pictures of yourself in our community and you're not wearing your PFD, we are not going to share it. In fact, we're going to delete your post because we're not about that.
Yeah. And take a next step further. Don't only just do it for yourself. Be an ambassador for it. Chad was just showing the No Wear, No Share pledge. You can go to nowhereNoshare.com right now, and you can pledge to not only say, hey, I'm going to be wearing my PFD, but I'm going to be an ambassador for encouraging others to do so as well. So if you have never done that before, head over to nowhereNoshare.com. We haven't really pushed it a whole lot. Already got over 100 people signed the pledge. We got companies signing pledges. We have magazines signing pledges. And Chad and I are working behind the scenes to get more and more every single day. And nowhereNoshare.com is actually part of KFAST, Kayak Fishing Advanced Safety Training, which Chad and I are really, really close to having that completed. The basic certification, those courses. We just had a business meeting this morning where in the next week or two, we hope to be testing and going live on this. So I know we've been pushing this. It's not the easiest thing to get courses and a learning management system and a business up and all the protections needed for you and for us. And so that is coming very soon. Chad, any thoughts on that before we continue to wrap up the rules section?
Yeah. One of the things that we get beat up on is like, hey, man, you should allow 2 motors. Okay. We have real insurance. We run a real business. So when I go to my insurance company and say, can I allow 2 motors? The first question is, does the manufacturer rate the kayak for 2 motors? And I go, no. Then the answer is no. So for those of you that are like, well, my club allows it. Cool. Your club allows it. Fish your club. I can't allow it. I called Mark up and said, dude, what do you think about the 2 motor thing? He shut me up. No, it's not. There's 4 kayaks on the market right now. You could truly put 2 motors on and be safe. Until the kayak companies step up and rate their boats for it, we can't in good faith allow it. So instead of taking your time to text me or making your mouth up to bitch at me about why KBF doesn't allow the rules, text the leadership of your kayak company and say, hey, when are you going to rate your kayak for 2 motors? When are you going to rate your kayak for actual max capacity and performance? When are you going to go to the Coast Guard and get the approval? Until then, I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay. It's crazy that I'm the dude getting the arrows in the back because I was the first one to allow motors. Now we're getting arrows in the back because I won't allow 2 motors. Y'all done lost your damn minds. Okay. I don't see a place in the near future where I allow 2 motors. I really don't. And I might even regret saying what I'm saying because at some point we might have to, or at some point we might, but I don't see it happening until the vast majority of kayak companies change the way that they do their weight capacity ratings and change the way that they certify their kayaks, because it is not safe for the average kayak angler to put 2 motors on their boats, 2 motors, 2 sets of batteries, 2 sets of wiring, and do it without any type of regulation, oversight, or manufacturer's approval.
Yeah, got some people here in the comment section say, hey, thanks for explaining that. Never knew that was the reason. Also have a few other people saying, some people passing away just this past week or so. I haven't even heard about these. You have one over here saying we just had a young man pass away at Marine Creek here in DFW. Leave your rig at home, not your
19.
PFD. Yeah,
19 kayak anglers this year that I know of, from various people texting me or stories that I've gotten or posts that I've gotten from the various state agencies or departments of natural resources that I'm friends with. 19 brings the grand total to 246 people since I started tracking this about 7 years ago. 246 wrecked families, 246 needless tragedies, 246 stories that are no longer being told, 246 stories that ended that day in I didn't wear my PFD, and a photo of it being strapped to the back of the seat of the kayak after the person's body was found bloated and floating 5 days later. It's silly. And at some point, somebody has to take a stand. And fortunately, I found Daren, batshit crazy Wendell over there, who joined forces with me to say, let's be the reason for change. I reached out to that knucklehead down there and said, hey, man, you with me? He said, absolutely, and designed the logo. And then Daren called this guy up here and said, hey, bro, you got your flat beam ready? Because we're going to do nowhere near here. He said, I'm in. So,
love it. I love it. On the flip side, I'm starting to hear more and more of this. Jonathan Turner here in the comment section. PFD saved my life this year. Putting it on should be everyone's first thing for launching, not putting it on after your launch. So, Jonathan Turner, glad you're with us, my friend. Glad you're not one of those 19 or so this year, or 250 over the past decade. Glad you're with us, my friend. All right, let's keep on cruising because, Chad, I know you have some things to talk about Greenhorn. I'm going to lump a bunch of these together. Competitor conduct, disputes and appeals, public comments, compliance with laws. Yeah, I had a feeling you're going to say something like that.
I pulled it from NASCAR, Bassmaster, and Major League Baseball. I took their rules of what you can and can't say to be, here's what it boils down to. A lot of times when people are hot, they get pissed off and they say these things, and later on they realize that they were wrong, but they never go back and backtrack it. So the damage has been done to the organization, to the series, to the sponsors, and to the community when somebody viscerally, responds when they've been what they feel like is wronged. So we created a public commentary rule. We created a code of conduct, and we created an organizational structure modeled after other world-class organizations that have competitors and competitive infrastructure. I don't know that I can do it any better than that, and to say if it works for the NFL, Major League Baseball, Bassmaster, Major League Fishing, and I think one PGA, it can't be, you know what I'm saying? Like, they've been doing it 100 plus years. I just copied it and smoothed it up a little bit and put it in kayak angler speak, and then put it in Chat GPT and said, put this into a 3rd grade reading level for me.
Yeah. All right, Chad, let's flip the script here. We're going to move off of rules here, and we're going to move into what to look forward to here in 2026. You have some new things coming down the pipe when it comes to the KBF Unlimited Challenge, with the new Greenhorn series, with the State Challenge series. And so I just threw a softball your way and knock it out of the park.
So I think that probably collectively, Mark and I have spent 600 or 700 hours developing an overview and a system that works based on positive feedback, negative feedback, and trying to create the best possible balance. When you go to Fishing Chaos, the Catch 22 that you see there actually ends tomorrow, and I'll be picking the prizes for that. And then you'll see the Torquedo Top 10, the state challenges, and you'll move down from there. Everything is organized very clean by going to Trail Club on the left-hand side of Fishing Chaos and going to Kayak Bass Fishing. Once you go to that, we have a state challenge series. We have a state angler of the year and a regional angler of the year for every state and every region built out underneath that. It is very straightforward. It is very simple. One of the number one questions that I'm getting, Daren, if you'll scroll back up a little bit and demonstrate this for me, is You're going to see a button that says right below that says angler roster. Hey, man, how many people are signed up in my state? If you click on that angler roster and you click on view leaderboard and you select your state, it'll sort by the number of people in your state and show who you're competing against. The biggest thing that I hear is, man, I'm thinking about signing up, but I haven't seen anybody else signing up for my state. And I'm like, yeah, and I got 8 other people calling me saying the same thing. So if you just sign up and they sign up, then you'll end up with enough people to make it a go. So we're focusing very heavily on state recognition, state champion recognition, state angler of the year recognition, and simultaneously doing the same thing for regions. I really want to break this down for you guys Barney style, the big purple dancing fat dinosaur that puts stuff in like first grade reading level. You enter the state challenges. The regional part takes care of itself unless you want to compete in the big bass, in which case you buy the $10 K-Fast Big Bass. K-Fast is sponsoring the big bass for KBF this year. It's $10. It's a 50-50 payout versus holdback to build the K-Fast Big Bass for the championships. It's optional. If you don't want to compete in it, don't. If you do, throw your $10 in there. It's pretty well laid out in the description box. This is the difference between the rules and the event-specific description. Everything starts with the state challenges. The Greenhorn, the Unlimited, the state challenges, and the regional all are housed under the state challenge series. Instead of having 50 different series like we've had in the past, which I agree with 99% of the people out there, it's been confusing. So everything starts with the state challenges. The one tangential event you'll see is that Torquedo Big Bass. That is a year-long $25 for $25,000 worth of prizes, top 10 big bass that you compete in all year long. The rules are pretty straightforward. You catch fish, you enter them. It creates a leaderboard for your top 10 biggest fish. So it's actually kind of a cool, just self leaderboard for your biggest 10 fish for the year. But you also have a chance at winning 4 to 6. I'm kind of narrowing it down now. I got 4 committed, but trying to bump it up to 6 Torquedo prize packages, premium trailers, premium gear, premium prize packages, kayaks. So again, all of that will be announced. Is today New Year's Eve or yeah?
Tomorrow.
So tomorrow.
Yeah.
So tomorrow it'll be announced the winners from last year. New Year's Day we'll announce the prizes for 2026. The Greenhorn is one of those things where a ton of people reached out to me and say, I love the Catch 22. I love the state challenges, but I don't like competing in both. I'm really not that competitive. What is there for me? So we moved the Catch 22 challenge for charity into the state challenges. We put it under an umbrella called the Greenhorn series. A Greenhorn is somebody that's really not that experienced. They're new, or they don't care about being a pro. So for $75, you get your KBF membership, you get your measuring board from Catch, you get your entry fees from February through October, so 9 months worth of entries for a minimum of $500 per month, and you get your K-Fast fees, or I'm sorry, your Fishing Chaos fees. So you don't have to pay fees. It's $75 for the whole year. Mark came up with a pretty badass logo, as Daren's trying to show there. It's like the KBF fish with green horns on it with kayak bass fishing written in green. It's actually a pretty damn good logo, pretty good looking logo. I got people wanting to cancel their lifetime membership to become a greenhorn just because of the damn logo. But the idea behind it is it's a series to compete in that you're not competing against the hammers out there, because the hammers can't compete in the greenhorn, but the greenhorns can't compete in the challenge series for the states. So it's kind of an entry level, every angler. The only real crossover is you, as a greenhorn, you can compete in the Torquedo Top 10 and you can compete in the Unlimited. So here's what the Unlimited is. Every month, there's an Unlimited series, and then there's a overall Unlimited for the year. We're going to be giving away 4 new canoe Unlimiteds, 1 per quarter, 1 Q1, 1 Q2, 1 Q3, 1 Q4 of the new canoe U10, the Unlimited 10-footer. And then at the end of the year, we're going to give away an Unlimited Max, which Austin and I just had the opportunity to film in for 2 days with the folks from Westbrook Supply. And it's a pretty badass boat. But we're going to give away an Unlimited Max, maxed out with rigging, motors, graphs, yak attack, and all that stuff for the anglers that exceed the threshold of the maximum number of fish that we set. And then there'll be somebody that wins the trophy for the person that took it to the max, which means they competed with Marty Hughes, who always catches more fish than anybody I know. They caught the most fish for the year, and they maxed out. That is a tournament where you don't have to break it up by region. You don't have to break it up by state, because it's not based on how big a fish you can catch. It's based on how many fish you can catch. So that's the Greenhorn. The Unlimited and the Torquedo Top 10 are eligible for everybody. And then the state challenges lead to State Angler of the Year, State Champion, Regional Angler of the Year, Regional Champion, which then ultimately leads to the Challenge Series National Championship, which leads to the national championship and the KBF the 10. So we pretty well got it laid out. If you go to kayakbassfishing.com and you click on any of the banners that Mark made look amazing, it takes you to a series overview. Under the series overview, we're going to be populating that with additional videos that further explain it based on your feedback.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, I think we've done a really good job of writing it out pretty simply, pretty straightforward, so that there's multiple ways that you can compete, multiple ways that you can win. But we've kind of separated the elite anglers from the everyday anglers who just want to fish for fun.
Yeah. So in order to be a greenhorn, what's your hard and fast rules there?
You just join as a greenhorn member. You can cross over from a previous KBF member for this year, from any other membership, and you just join as a greenhorn member. But you can't be a greenhorn member and another level. If you're a greenhorn, you're competing in the greenhorn series. And if you're not a greenhorn, you compete in the other series. If somewhere along the way you decide, man, I've done really well as a greenhorn, I'm ready to move on and move up to the other series, you can. You just have to upgrade your membership. Then you're no longer eligible to fish in the greenhorn, and you can now fish in the challenge series.
So technically, you can fish in greenhorn year after year after year.
100%.
If you wanted to.
You're an average angler. But what I will tell you is this: Mark and I have decided that if somebody decides to be a greenhorn, but they're just a hammer, we're going to call you and go, listen, dude, get out. Sorry. You can't just win greenhorn every year. You can't be that dude that's actually got like a handicap in golf, but you go play at the white peg or whatever the short peg is all the time. We're going to boot you out.
Got it. You're going to graduate people.
Yes.
I like it. Someone's got a question over here. When do the trails come back?
Golly, John, Mark, I'll let you answer that one. I have kept Mark. What's the word I'm looking for? Silent. I have gagged him on this. Mark, go ahead. Tell him, when are we bringing the trails back?
Stay tuned.
No, tell him. Tell him what I told you. You ain't got to be. I'm giving you permission. Lay it out there. When are we bringing the trails back?
The goal, if I'm not mistaken, is 2027, if not 2028.
No, we're bringing them back spring 2027 throughout the course of the year. So take that shit to the bank.
You're welcome. It is. It's been my pet project to bring that back with the reintroduction of the regionals. So when the trail comes back, it is going to be regional.
100%. So we're building the regions this year to set the table for bringing the regions back in the trail series back in 2027.
All right. Let's land this plane, Chad, Mark, Seth. I got some questions from the audience. I promised I was going to ask, and so let's rip through these. First off, thank you, Stinky River Tom. Throwing a couple bucks my way. Appreciate you. Melvin Marriott early on said, is there a schedule for 2026 out yet?
A schedule as far as
kayakbassfishing.com. Go check that out.
Go to kayakbassfishing.com, click on any of the banners. It takes you to the series overview. And if you go to Fishing Chaos and click on tournaments, they're all laid out in order.
Yep. This one you kind of covered, but just to make it uber clear for people, Pyro said, what KBF tournaments are starting on the 1st?
The State Challenge Series, the Unlimited, the Greenhorn kicks off February 1st.
There you go. I like it. This is an interesting comment. Some people are new to KBF. I like it. Will KBF ever branch into New England?
I'm glad that you brought that one back up because I had that marked in my brain earlier. So will KBF ever branch? Yeah, exactly. KBF is everywhere. KBF should be in every single state, region that you're in. I'm curious to know where in New England you are. So if you're on the New England Northeast border, you could definitely reach out to me personally. If you're further into New England, I'm going to refer you to reach out to Jesse Hazen, who is he's our first named regional rep, and he is the rep for the New England region.
There you go.
Good dude. I fished with him down in Gunnersville just a few months ago. I like it. Steven Sturgeon's got a question here. Is the plan for the regionals to be live events?
For 2026, they will be virtual 3-day events, Friday and Saturday, cut into the top 10 for a Sunday regional the 10 championship. And in 2027, they will be live events.
Let's re-clarify that. The regional championships are going to be virtual 3 days. The regionals are just like the state challenge. While you're fishing the state challenge throughout the month, you're fishing the regional. So that's happening, and you're accumulating points.
Yeah, your state entry is feeding into the regional standings, so they're live all throughout the year. Exactly. Like Mark said, the regional championship in October. October is going to be championship month, kind of like baseball. It's the October championship month, the playoffs. There'll be regional championships, which we have laid out on the website. We have laid out based on the dates for your region. Those will be 3-day virtuals in 2026, and we will be visiting the tourism shows and getting back in the mix of things like we were with KBF before for having live regionals, which were part of the live trail series for 2027. So yes, stay tuned. But it's
a good question. I like it. Is there a listing of KBF representatives so Chad's phone doesn't go off every 5
Not yet, but it's coming. So our list of representatives right now is that gentleman right there. Yeah. Go to our website, and we have a staff link. We'll be populating out that staff link over the next 3 to 5 days with the people that are there now. And then as people get added, like Mr. Jesse Hazen, Mark will add them with a little pretty cool, baseball card looking stats layout page or whatever with all of their contact info. So there will be.
So Chad, and I guess this is specifically to Mark, being that you kind of lead Long Island KBF. When someone says, and they did, someone said, hey, there's never anyone ever in my state, which is Massachusetts. So I get it, per capita, pretty small state. However, there's people there. So what would you say to someone like this?
There's an absolutely huge club in Massachusetts that runs multiple regions in Massachusetts called Massachusetts Kayak Bassin, who is run by, I believe, Ken Wood and a couple of other anglers that I know. Mm-hmm. So you actually have a boatload of people that I wish we had access to fish our region.
KBF. They're pretty straightforward. Great club, great group of dudes. They've had some leadership changeovers and stuff, but yeah, you have a lot of opportunities in Massachusetts.
All right, anything I missed that you're like, hey, wanted to chat about as we slowly land this plane? Chad, Mark, Seth?
I did see one comment that said that they lived on a state line and they weren't sure which state to fish. The answer is
both. Yeah, 100%.
And I'm not saying that to take your money and double up I'm saying double up your chances to win.
And it's pretty well laid out in the rules under reciprocal agreements. And if you're fishing on the state, I've got it written out about as clearly as it could be written out for that very.
I'm picking up a theme about these rules. Yeah, pretty standard, pretty cut and dry. 3rd grade level. Read them.
7 years. Those rules have been evolving. 27 years.
There you go. Like the back of your hand. Seth, any thoughts before we close this up?
What if you have a hammer in a state that just wins all the time?
I'm just going to have Mark show up at their house with a bat, take their kneecaps out. No, it's just part of it.
I'm not talking about myself.
Yeah. Get better.
If you have a hammer like you do in Florida with Dalton Albright, we're going to come up with some clever ways to incentivize other people to win other things. So yes, that we have a plan for that.
Yeah, because some people, I mean, whether they're super talented, and I'm not talking about this specific individual, or they got the spot, man, and it's difficult to beat them sometimes. So it might.
No, those are all rules. Those are all excuses that people who can't beat them make. Because I will tell you, for Dalton, I've had every claim under the sun that he's fishing in private waters. He's got the spot. He's honey hole fishing. But I will say this. I went down and filmed with him to see what he's doing exactly. And he was absolutely public water, real time, laying the smack down. Then some of the anglers in Florida complained, oh, no, he's fishing in whatever. He's got a secret spot. And then they had an event on one of the places that he fishes. And he went there and laid the smack down and beat all their asses in a live event. So he served him a big old cup of shut the hell up.
Just to be clear, I wasn't talking about Dalton.
But I'm saying he's a specific example.
Correct.
If you're thinking a person is beating you because of thing here, you're making an excuse to let yourself off the hook for why they're beating you, other than the fact that they're just beating you. They're fishing harder, they're studying longer, they're researching better. But there is no place anywhere in the country where an angler has a honey hole where they're fishing over and over and over again. I have 9 anglers in the 2026 or 2025 Challenge Series that have been accused of fishing fish. Oh, he's catching the same fish in the same place over and over again. The absolute smallest number of places that one of those 9 fish was 5 different bodies of water. So it's not like they've got this 50-acre honey hole that they're going and smashing the fish. They're just doing a better job of fishing. And unfortunately, we're not a loser-based organization where we're going to, pussify America, where we bring down the everybody gets a trophy. If you don't want to compete with the people that are hammers because you want to, lower the competition so that you can compete, KBF ain't the place for you.
That was my end question, what I was trying to get to, Chad.
Yeah.
Not the excuse.
You wound them up.
Are we lowering the bar for the people that continue to win? Or are we keeping it?
Yeah, I wanted to make it clear. There are no instances where the person that's kicking your ass is doing it because they have anything other than a hell of a lot more work ethic.
Gotcha.
Like, oh, he's a college student, so he never works. No, he works 2 jobs, and his mom has to drive him to the spot to drop him off 90% of the time because he didn't even have a car in the beginning. So he's going above and beyond to coordinate. He's just a little bit more mad at the fish than you are. So, next time you're thinking about going to your company picnic, realize Dalton's fishing.
Right.
Next time you're spending time with your kids, know that Dalton's fishing.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you want to be a family man, I'm just kidding. But by and large, we've got a few plans down the road to kind of containerize that stuff. But for 2026, the baseline is we're going to make more competition so it makes it harder for that one person to win all the time.
There you go. I like it. Well, Chad, Mark, Seth, appreciate you. Everyone on. We had between 100 and 150 on all night. So appreciate everyone chiming in. A lot of comments over here in the comment section. So appreciate you. Appreciate your time. And also thank you to the show sponsor, Dark Horse Tackle. Once again, if you've never been over to darkhorsetackle.com, please head over there. Show them some love if you love the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. I will see you in the next couple of weeks. I have Creek Fishing Ventures on. I got a few other anglers on. It's going to be a good one. And so until then, we will see you in the comment section. See you in our videos. Appreciate you. You guys have a good one. Thanks, Chad. Thanks.
Happy New Year, y'all.
That's right.
Yeah,
see you in 2026. See you.